My next question is, what kind of school do you want to work in? So we've talked about whether you should leave or not, but what are the traits of a school that you actually want to work in? And I've come up with some of my own. And I've also, in the next lecture, put in an article that I've written in the past about 9 things that satisfied teachers feel in schools. So if you want to have a read of that after this lecture, and maybe that will help you to further reflect as well as how many of those you feel or experience. But these are the things that I feel I want to come across in schools where I'm looking to maybe work in the future. One of them is empathetic relationships, and particular an emphasis on empathy. Do people within the school or organisation at least put a little bit of effort into trying to understand things from another point of view? If it's a leader, are you thinking about the impact of the policies? If it's a teacher, are you thinking about what difference what you're going to do is going to make to other people? It may also be that as a leader or teacher in a school, I want to work somewhere where people are professional and people talk to each other in a way that I would expect them to. That doesn't mean that people won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean that there isn't variations in people's personalities because some people are more direct than other people. No problem. It doesn't mean it's about, a particular meeting or situation that went wrong out of 20. That's not really what I'm talking about here. I think what I'm talking about is a culture of empathy, a culture within the school that appreciates that people have feelings, that people may be going through difficult circumstances in their personal lives. Perhaps things are going badly on a wider level, a community level. And it's understanding the different pressures that people are under. Now, that's particularly important of leaders within the school because they're going to set the tone and set the culture. But it's also important the individuals there. And it may be that you can maybe get a feel there of who is in the school. So what is the prototype teacher in your school now? Is the way in which they act as a collective something that you're happy with or something that makes you feel good? So empathetic leadership, but also empathetic relationships. That would be my first one. The second one is brave leadership. I want to work in a school or schools where if there's a problem, the leaders are courageous in tackling it. Leaders aren't going to run away. Leaders aren't going to hide in an office when the going gets tough. Leaders are going to have the difficult conversations, whether they're positive or negative. And they're going to be active and proactive. That's me. Now, it might be, I can't imagine many people would disagree with that, but it might be that you don't want that. It might be that you want a leader who is much less visible and almost in the background, and you just want to be left to get on with it. Even if things are going wrong around you, you want to deal with it. But I think for me, it's important to have that visible, brave leadership, a leader who is going to tackle problems head on, front on, and go towards the problem and go towards the difficulty. And working in an organisation like that frees you up to do your actual job, which is teaching. So if you have an issue in the school, it's going to be dealt with, and it's going to be dealt with more often than not fairly, because as I've just said, you have to be, in my opinion, you have to be a bit reasonable and look at it and say, okay, everyone's going to make a mistake. No one's going to be perfect dealing with different issues, especially in a school where so much happens. But I do think brave leadership is really important for me.